Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau continues to come under fire this week after an Auditor General's report revealed the government paid too much to the developers of the controversial ArriveCan app. The report also cautioned that the true costs may be impossible to calculate because of the Canadian Border Service Agency's poor financial record-keeping. The ArriveCan drama continues to spiral. On Wednesday, the Conservatives passed a motion with the Government Operations Committee calling on the Auditor General to audit all contracts and payments from the federal government to GC Strategies, the company responsible for the development of the ArriveCan app.
At a time where we're in a cost of living crisis, where Canadians are struggling to eat, they're struggling to put gas in their cars, they're struggling to heat their homes. Every single dollar counts, and when we're seeing mismanagement of funds at this level and in such a gross way, Canadians should be offended by that.
A report released this week by AG Karen Hogan says the sole-sourced contract given to GC Strategies in April 2020 cost $59.5 million, but admits that number is only based on the information that was available to her.
We didn't find records to accurately show how much was spent on what, who did the work, or how and why contracting decisions were made. And that paper trail should have existed.
The Globe and Mail reporting today that the RCMP is assessing this week's AG report, but Conservative politicians say that doesn't go far enough.
There is currently an RCMP investigation ongoing out of the Canada Border Services Agency that involves GC Strategies. So even the government itself knows that it doesn't pass the smell test. We just don't know how deep the rot is.
In addition, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre sent a letter to RCMP Commissioner Mike Duhem this week asking the National Police Service to investigate the app. In his letter, Poilievre wrote that Hogan's findings, quote, have exposed corruption, mismanagement, and misconduct on a massive scale. The official opposition leader raised his concerns directly with the Prime Minister during question period this week.
So once again, will he stay out of the way and let the police investigate his government, or will he try to block it again?
There will be consequences for anyone who broke those rules or those laws, while we continue to do everything we need to do to deliver for Canadians, to support people in their daily lives and build a better future for all Canadians.
The ArriveCan app was launched in April 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, but was plagued with issues, including concerns from business groups and U.S. politicians who claimed it disincentivized travel and harmed the flow of commerce between the countries. Now, 4 years later, as the fallout from the app continues, experts say governments in recent history have been struggling with procurement issues.
The stuff's cumulative, right? It's not that ArriveCan on its own, in a $2 trillion plus economy, government spends $400 billion. It's not the biggest thing. The issue is it's cumulative, and it's a confidence issue. I think this is the issue that governments actually kind of fail to grasp by the time they get into their third term. It's really about confidence.
Joining us now for more on this is the Conservative Member of Parliament for Leeds-Grenville and Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes, as well as the Shadow Minister for Ethics and Accountable Government, Michael Barrett. And Mr. Barrett, the RCMP told the Globe and Mail they are reviewing the Auditor General's report. Why do you and your party believe a full investigation is required?
Look, this week, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre had called for the RCMP to expand their investigation into the ArriveCan scandal. Look, this was supposed to be an app that cost $80,000, and the Auditor General, the person responsible for costing these things out with an army of auditors behind her, can't even determine if $60 million is the actual price of it. We've seen contracts going to, in one case, a company that's two guys working out of a suburban Ottawa basement getting nearly $20 million on this one project. So incredibly important that the RCMP take a look at this.
So is it your belief that you think something criminal happened here?
Well, that's what the RCMP is going to determine. That's why they have, they're making their inquiries. We know that some of the contractors who worked on ArriveCan are being investigated by the RCMP. And so it's no surprise to see that they're now turning their attention to the full ArriveCan program, knowing that some of the contractors that were used are currently being investigated.
Last week, the Liberals and NDP voted to shut down further committees looking into the app. What did you make of that move, and is there something you believe they're trying to hide?
Look, the only reason that we have the Auditor General's report that we do this week that shows the cost went from 80,000 to 60 million, saying that Canadians didn't get value for money and that there's massive irregularities, missing documents, no rationale for why the largest contractor, GC Strategies, was even selected. That motion was put forward by Conservatives in the House of Commons in November of 2022, if you can believe it, with Liberal members voting against it. So Conservatives have been looking for accountability on this. Lots of pressure being exerted by the Liberals on their coalition partners in the NDP to try and cover up what's going on here. And we don't know what it is that they're trying to hide, but we certainly know why they're trying to hide it with the damning report from the Auditor General this week and revelations that the RCMP are starting to look at it.
Moving forward, what kind of transparency would you be looking for from the Liberals on any future projects?
In this case, we have, companies like GC Strategies who are appearing at committee. We have officials appearing at committee saying that company only received $11 million. Then the Auditor General comes forward and say, oh, actually, it's closer to $20 million. So we need transparency on all of the contracts, all of the subcontracts. When the government says something's going to cost $80,000 and ends up costing $60 million, we need a full accounting for how that came to pass. And of course, that kind of thing can never be allowed to happen again. So we need to know what happened in this case. And all of this falls squarely at the feet of Prime Minister Trudeau, who has said that he's proud of this app and it was very important. Let's keep in mind that this project, this ArriveCan app, wrongly quarantined, forced into house arrest more than 10,000 people who had followed all of the rules, but just through a glitch in this very expensive app that seemed only to reward Liberal insiders and punish everyday Canadians. So we need basic transparency and accountability from the government, and that's what we've been calling for from the beginning.
Mr. Barrett, I appreciate you making the time. Thank you for joining us this evening on Trending Now.
Pleasure. Thanks so much.